Today I want to share something joyful and grateful with all of you. This is a story that came out in Forbes magazine. Forbes is a magazine widely read by business leaders in the US. It's a highly respected publication, and I'm sure many of you have heard of it. I'll show you the headline from the Forbes article here. Thanks to Bitcoin, Ethiopia has the potential to thrive. That's the gist of the article. One of the key points in the article says, as you know, Ethiopia is a country facing many challenges, but it's supposed to export electricity to its neighboring countries. They have what's called the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. It's a hydroelectric dam. The surplus electricity from that dam is exported to nearby countries like Sudan and Djibouti. That's right, they're exporting it. That's part of what the article explains. But here's the important part. Only 48% of Ethiopia's population has access to electricity. To put it simply, 52% are not even exposed to electric civilization. You shouldn't look at this from a first world perspective. It is about Africa. You need to see things from their point of view. Now, there's a man named Alex Gladstein. He is with the Human Rights Foundation. I'm not exactly sure what kind of foundation it is. It doesn't seem to be part of the UN or anything like that. It's just the Human Rights Foundation, basically a foundation focused on human rights. And he appears to be a senior officer there. He wrote an article or op-ed claiming that billions of people in developing nations will be able to access electricity thanks to Bitcoin. That's the case he's making. Here's what he says using Ethiopia as an example. With just 5% of Ethiopia's surplus electricity, they could mine 2,100 bitcoins per year. After mining 2,100 bitcoin and subtracting the cost of ASIC chips, technically this is depreciation, and the numbers vary depending on how it's calculated, from an accounting standpoint since it's not a one-time use. Anyway, they could earn about $70 million a year. With just 5% of surplus electricity, they could do that. By contrast, it would cost Ethiopia $1.7 billion to build the infrastructure needed to export electricity to its neighbors, or they could simply mine Bitcoin instead. So they can produce more electricity, provide it to more of their people, and export even more to neighboring countries. This is what he wrote in his piece. It hasn't been that long since he published it. He talks about developing countries where most people don't have access to electricity. Why don't they have access? To build electric infrastructure, they need stable demand to support it. But when electricity is produced in Africa, a lot of it ends up wasted because the supply can't be stabilized. Investors avoid investing altogether in developing countries' power plants, which is not financially viable. That's why power plants in developing countries should start mining Bitcoin. If they mine Bitcoin, the power plants become profitable. They generate revenue. They could use surplus electricity to mine Bitcoin and supply electricity to the people. Tell me, who said all this? The Chief Strategy Officer at the Human Rights Foundation. That's right, an officer of the Human Rights Foundation. That's what he said. A senior officer from the Human Rights Foundation. He's the one making the statement. He must be someone trustworthy since it's published in Forbes with actual numbers backing up the story. But look, doesn't it sound familiar? It is what I told you in my previous video. That video was filmed 2 months ago. So, did I find this out 2 months ago? Nope. I learned about this back in 2014. Yeah, in 2014. You need to understand this. All the Bitcoin theorists, including myself, already know this. It's deductive reasoning. It's not a mystery. It's simply how things are bound to unfold. It just takes time for the general public and human rights activists to realize this. But we already knew. The only part that's not easy to grasp deductively is how it went from $0 to $1. Aside from that mystery, that leap, we basically understand everything else. For example, all those questions you're asking about quantum computers or CBDCs, all of that has already been deduced and understood. In fact, my book, The Genealogy of Knowledge, covers all of that. If you're interested, you can get the book and read it. I'll explain more about CBDCs and quantum computers later, but if you need to know now, it's all in my book. You feel more confident now, right? Just days ago, I urged the whole nation with a bold and flashy title to mine Bitcoin with excess energy. And 2 days later, it's in Forbes. A high-ranking official from a human rights foundation says, hey, developing nations, you can't build dams or power plants because demand isn't stable. Just mine Bitcoin. Then it suddenly becomes profitable and you can attract investment to build power plants. Then with the leftover electricity, you can mine Bitcoin. And more of your people, especially those who don't have access yet, the vast majority of the population, can finally get electricity. These ideas are coming out from him. Why is this only being said now? It's because of all the idiots, all the clueless critics who bash Bitcoin for using electricity. Only then do people start thinking seriously about it. And even Ethereum now says, we don't do proof of work. We're proof of stake. We're green. That's what they say. Now, real Bitcoin theorists are laying it all out. Of course, it's not like this guy watched my Korean video from 2 days ago and then wrote his article, right? It's because all of this follows from deduction. This is how it works, believe it. The conclusion is already out there. The only mystery was how it went from $0 to $1. That was the only true mystery. When did I know? I figured it all out in 2014. The realization hit me all at once except for the mystery of going from 0 to 1. That one took about a year to figure out. It was truly tough. So today, I've shared something joyful with you all. So with a light heart, thinking of Ethiopia and another Renaissance dam being built there, you may feel proud. Every time we buy Bitcoin, a new dam could be built in developing countries. Hold that pride no matter what they say. Let the ignorant bark all they want. You just keep the faith. Oh, one last thing. If you've been watching, this is the real point today. All the educated folks around me who missed out on Bitcoin in 2014, the so-called elites, all those smart people may not have a problem with their brain. If you think about it, they may have a problem with their heart, right? All right, thank you. Have a great day.
좋은 하루 되십시오.